Hey everybody, welcome into the Fallout Shelter. Hope everybody's having a great Friday, or if you're around the world, whatever your evening, morning, whatever it is, it's lunchtime here in Mississippi. Hello, Chrissy, if you're all back at work, I'm sorry we missed you. Hey, Deidre, Applied Knowledge, TM, John Boy, Peoples, and Giggles. Good to see you. Good to see you all afternoon. Uh, I'm going to do something that I do a good bit on the D live streams. I go over tech news, and it's not got anything to do with what everybody else is going to be talking about. Not today, not even a little bit. We're going to go over a couple of things. Now, check this out. Hey, Trebleson, uh, y'all know. I imagine most of y'all here, y'all watch Richie, and he talks about the under ocean lakes, right? I'm going to show y'all a little bit of predictive programming here. Any of y'all out there that have children and have had them for quite a few years now, you're familiar with SpongeBob. You know, we phased TV out over a period of time and are working toward progressively better every day. I believe lessons and traits in programming are learned over a long period of time. So in order to not just traumatize your children when you start to make these changes in your life, you have to pick and choose slowly, and they adapt very well as long as you don't hit them all at one time. So anyway, but if you remember, if you ever watched SpongeBob, check this out. I'm not going to play any of the video, but this is just a still shot. Do y'all remember the underwater lagoon that all of the fish and the sponge used to hey TJ and Army Guardian, good to see y'all. Uh, y'all remember they used to swim, and then there was the big red lobster and all of that. That was their underwater refuge. Okay, so water to water to water, and technically, if you really wanted to get into it, we live in water. If you got into a breakdown, scientific hydrogen, oxygen, now it's the gaseous mixes and all that. It could get. I mean, they're starting to talk about digital matter. Come on, everybody. Anyway, I wanted to share that real quick and get that out of the way. That's something that hit me, and I was like, oh, yeah, there's some predictive programming for the children right there, things of that nature. So, I'm going to get into a little bit of the science news. All of the links for everything I'm going to go over are in the description. And I want to thank everybody for coming in and hanging out a little bit. Remember, we come not in a spirit of fear. We come together in peace and love and pointing out just what the enemy is trying to do to us. And today is going to be a lot of it today. What I'm talking about is the consciousness of artificial intelligence and how they're trying to push that on you already. Right. It's all water from water. Uh, I'm trying to find my screen share. There it is. Okay. First of all, I did find this report. I wanted to bring it to you. Kind of, I guess this is something that we probably all ought to know. That you are probably not going to hear anywhere else. This came out this morning, actually, from physics.org. And you know what? I'm pretty sure I have this link in the. I'm pretty sure I have this link in the description, but it might have been a last minute entry, and I just want to show this to y'all. So let me get that pulled up that way. All right. Opening the window in your home will not flush out the chemicals in the air. Now, I'm not going to read this word for word. I have read it. I'm going to tell you basically what it says. All of these chemicals that caught in your hair that they say come from couches, pillows, for products as hairsprays, room deodorizers, scented candles, everything that releases all of these fumes and chemicals into the air in your home. It says no one really knows if the chemicals in the average home are making people sick, but scientists are looking into it. That's bullcrap. They've been looking into this. We show how much they've been looking into everything, and I try to go back and show the history of it too, just so you know. Thank you, Dobry, Kurt. All of y'all, heck yeah, no fear. The truth lady. Good to see all of y'all. Mike D, you too. Awesome, awesome. Okay, and check this out. It says no one really knows if the chemicals in the average home are making people sick. Well, no, they can't know because there's no control effort, because the poisons in the food are making them sick. The poisons in the water are making them sick. The fluoride in the water is making us stupid. Uh, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm pointing fingers. All of the shots, and I'm going all around, that they give you have something toxic in them now. Everything. So we just need to be vigilant about what's going on. I always go back to the parable of the wise virgin and the unwise virgin. A lot of people go, oh, well, I don't need to worry about it. I trust in the Lord. Well, I do too. But I also trust that I was told to have oil in my lamp and be looking, which means don't be stupid. Be prepared, because you're going to face hard times. Was guaranteed. We just have a way out. We have hope. And we have the eternity promise. Anyway, but yeah, the chemicals everywhere are making us sick. The chemicals in the houses, the chemicals out in the air. Now, I thought at first when I read this, before I ever even went any further, I was like, well, now you don't want to open your doors. The air outside is more toxic than the chemicals in your home. But anyway, the experiment consisted of testing the air in the model, and somebody outside is doing something crazy. I'm not used to being home at this time of day. So anyway, and they take it and then they just open the doors and windows to let it air out, right? Well, what they found out is that it aired out of the chemicals really quickly, but all of the chemicals attached to the walls and all of the other stuff in the home, and so that as soon as they closed the doors and the windows, within just a few minutes, the chemical level was exactly the same again in their home. So this is just another edition of how we're being bombarded by the enemy, and how we have to work to take care of ourselves, because being aware is having knowledge of how to take care of yourself and the wisdom to know that it needs to be done. And look, hey, Love Pugs, good to see you. And I'm not perfect with it. I'm not perfect at all. I've never taken great care of myself. I'm just now trying to do better. But that's where we're at, and I figured until I figure out something else to do, I might as well share it and be the crazy guy screaming at the computer. Okay, moving on. Let's go to this one first. No, that was actually supposed to be the third one. This is an article that came out May 7th, 2008 in Scientific American. So this article is 12 years old, and it was called Mind Control by Cell Phone. Electromagnetic signals from cell phones can change your brain waves and behavior, but don't break out the aluminum full head shield just yet. What? And now you see the zombie apocalypse with everybody. Here's a cover for a phone. I can pretend. Everybody's walking around going, "Wow." I have numerous pictures that I've clipped of people walking into vans, walking out in traffic, stumbling into ponds. Hey, Brenda and Karen, good to see y'all. Oh, appreciate y'all hanging out here on a Friday afternoon. So, where was I at? Oh yeah, 2008. Hospitals and airplanes ban the use of cell phones because their electromagnetic transmissions can interfere with sensitive electrical devices. Okay. Could the brain also fall into that category? Of course. All our thoughts, sensations, and actions arise from bioelectricity generated by neurons and transmitted through complex neural circuits inside our skull. They were telling us in 2008 exactly what's going to happen, why we're setting the standards as we do, and so we set them, and we continue to change them every year. But as we change the standards, technology is already advancing at such an exponential rate that the new technology is not regulated properly. And while the scientific work is being done to find out how it needs to be regulated, technology is still moving forward. So there's never a point where they meet at a balance. Technology will always outrun regulation, and I think it's set up to be that way. That way they always look like they're doing their very best to protect you, while they're really doing their very best to protect their investment in the economic background of the technological structure, knowing that they have the money for the, and I had it in an article, and he actually used a word that, what did he say? The guy who was talking about wealthy people will be the only ones to procreate because they'll be the only ones to afford the medical, because we won't be able to afford everything it takes to have children because we're dealing with all the toxins in our body. And then we read about how you open the doors that don't get chemicals out of your house. We read about the chemicals that are in all of the shots. Hey, Verdi, good to see you. We read about all of that. So we've got to protect ourselves. So you need to always be ready. Number one, you always need to be ready for any emergency. I personally believe that all of the weather is man-made now, unless our Father takes his hand and changes it. I believe that's been taken over. We have to pray for that protection over us. So when you're dealing with this technology versus safety, it's never in our favor, even though it's made to look that way. 50 years from now, our grandchildren, if the earth has continued, we'll be finding information about what they were actually doing to us, because they'll release it redacted because all the people involved will be dead. That's the way the circle works. It looks like it works, and it makes people just happy enough that, oh, we found this about John F. Kennedy. Really? Well, look, I love everybody, and don't get mad at me about this. At this point, it don't matter about John F. Kennedy. Who cares? It was 50 years ago. What would have been nice would have been to have known about John F. Kennedy 5 years after it happened, so that the people involved could have faced their judgment on earth and not lived that life until the day they died. And, well, they're facing that judgment now, but you get my point. And that's the way the system works, and everybody kind of stays happy with it. It's a bureaucratical red tape circle of blah. All right. So anyway, that was what they were talking about. The cell phone operating to work. Let's see if there's anything interesting down here at the bottom. Alpha waves of the brain. Let's read this a little bit. Alpha waves fluctuate at a rate of 8 to 12 cycles per second. These brain waves reflect a person's state of arousal and attention. Alpha waves are generally regarded as an indicator of reduced mental effort, critical idling, or mind wandering. But this conventional view is perhaps an oversimplification. Croft, for example, argues that the alpha wave is really regulating the shift of attention between external and internal inputs. Alpha waves increase in power when a person shifts his or her consciousness of the external world to internal thoughts. They also are the key brainwave signatures of sleep. Now think about this. We have the research where they know that certain colors and certain sounds and delays and the dings and the buzzers release certain parts of your brain to open it up to, like, what's the dopamine, adrenaline, the rush. So you have all of these things, and at the same time, you're looking at it in a device that can actually manipulate the alpha waves of your brain. It's worse than any heroin, any drug you put into your body, because they can actually control the waves. Now, let me move on to the new part, the newest thing in cell phones. Well, where'd it go? Okay, your iPhone 11 Pro emits twice the amount of radiation for safe use. Now, I know I did a short video on this, but I want to thank you guys for your feedback. Hey, Believe, and what's your prob? Good to see you guys. I appreciate your guys' feedback, because I mentioned before I didn't understand about the short video versus the hour-long streams. I get it. Some people like the shorter videos. Some people like the longer streams. So I decided I'd just make a couple of videos on things that were really interesting. And for the people that like the streams, I'll bring them up in there and read over them real quick. Thank you guys for the feedback. It was really helpful. Your iPhone 11 Pro emits twice the amount of radiation for safe use. So, done by a RF exposure lab in San Marcos, California, found that the iPhone 11 Pro emits over twice the FCC's legal safety limit for radio frequency radiation from a cell phone. The testing builds on former investigative work by the Chicago Tribune, which also found that an iPhone 7 and other smartphones exceeded federal radiation levels. Now, I'm not sure what these smartphones are, but I'm sure they're probably going to blow up in sales now because, you know, like when they told you the Samsung TV would be recording you and all of that. Hey, James, good to see you. When they, and Hundo Gaming. So when they told you that all of this was going to be happening with the Samsung TV, it became like number one. The iPhone 11 will probably blow up literally, and really it's blowing up people's head. Uh, where was I at? The lab found the smartphone exposes users to a specific absorption rate. Now I want to talk to y'all about that term, specific absorption rate. They call it a SAR. Why did we name another virus the SARS virus when we were already using SAR for specific absorption rate? I don't know. It just it gets confusing when you're researching both of them. How much the body absorbs radio frequency energy of 3.8 watts per kilogram. Meanwhile, the Federal Communications Commission has set maximum exposure rate at 1.6 watts per kilogram, which means we're only going to irradiate you a little bit. Now, I'm not a scientist. I just read this information because I'm trying to figure things out. I'm looking for what's going on because that is what we're called to do and be vigilant. I at least want to have some idea, so I pray for clarity. And what I get from what I've been reading is that sometimes these lower wattage things that are going on and these lower numbers in the frequency band actually are worse on our brain and our systems inside, as the higher frequencies are really more of a burning and will be of a, well, I believe it'll be more in control when I show y'all some of these sensors that are coming out in just a few minutes. Actually, I'm going to get into that in just a minute. AI, consciousness, all of that. Anyway, 2011, we all know World Health Organization classified radiation as a possible carcinogen, which we absolutely know. When they don't say no, hey, paradoxine oxide, when they don't say no, there's no problem. That means there's a problem. We've just got to find a way to regulate it. Regulate it means we don't really care about your safety, but we got to figure out a way to keep you from dying while we get our technology rolling on down the road. So there you go. The iPhone 11, more than double the legal limit. And if you're driving, that is prison. Or if it's your third time, that is prison. So anyway, done with that. Now I know for a fact these articles are all down below in the description. The Truth Lady. Well, you're very welcome, Truth Lady. And I'm trying to do it in a manner where we don't see the same thing here that you see everywhere else. Really no need for that, right? There's so many people talking about everything else. What's the point? Now, this story is about artificial intelligence. It's not about space. There's some questions there that I'm in deep research on that honestly I don't have answers to, so I don't talk about them. What I do believe is an electromagnetic force. I do believe there is a point up there where we can reach a weightlessness, and I'm not sure how it all works, not even going to admit to, but I believe there are people up there. So I also believe in creation, which means I believe the sun was created after the earth. Other than that, I'm still in the ballpark. I'm still looking, so I don't answer those questions. I don't know. I look through a bunch of this other stuff all the time, and that's just kind of where I stand on it. But I'm looking into it, and if I ever make a definitive of where I stand, I'll let you know. But right now, this is AI, and they're trying to normalize your relationships with machines. And they actually in this article completely split morality and scientific taking care of needs. So I'm going to kind of just read this word for word, and then we will go into some of the other stuff. Yeah, my absolute truth is that I go to the Father through the Son. That's my truth. I'm looking forward to an eternity of better things. I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and it will all work itself out. Astronauts, despite their rigorous training, remain humans with needs. Yeah, in pools. For space exploration and colonization to succeed, we need to overcome taboos, consider human needs and desires, and provide concrete, realistic solutions based on science rather than conventional morality. We are completely splitting the Bible, your moral code, for the base of science. Listen, I don't know if y'all know this, but in the early days, the priests were the scientists. I'm talking about pre-Abraham era. Abraham's father was a priest and a scientist. Now, I think it was actually of the Sumerian gods, because that was where that line was coming from. And I'm not an expert. These are just what I'm trying to remember. But I think his name was Turan or something. And he was a high priest, but they were the scientists. They were the astronomers. They were everything. And that was before it split. Now, we're taking and saying human needs and desires need realistic solutions based on science rather than conventional morality. Well, I know the rest of the world probably agrees with that in the direction that it's gone, but I don't. I don't stand up for that. I think that's horrible. Morality is gone a lot as we know it. But listen, here's what we get to. Can humans thrive for prolonged periods of time in small groups and enclosed, isolated environments? Can humans contend with limited possibilities of relationships, intimacy, and sexuality? Sex tech might have the answer. Keep in mind, this is physics.org. This is what they're promoting on 2/20/2020. Yeah, I think that was something. I think that number was something special, and I don't remember what it was. As researchers explore human-machine erotic interactions, we are interested in their implications and potential applications for human well-being, even beyond our home planet. They are using astronauts to normalize sex robots. Hello? This is where the evil is at. They're normalizing this to the point to where, listen, this is where they're normalizing this. Do y'all remember a message that said, I'm gonna put it in English the best I can. You know, it's gonna be a time when, even though you wouldn't think so, those that are supposed to be the very elect, the closest to me, that are supposed to be feeding my sheep and doing my work, are going to be deceived. How many good people in the churches are going to be okay with a sex robot because, well, he's an astronaut. He's going to be up in space for a long, long time. And, I think that's okay. They need something, and that's one way to do it without whatever. But here's the way it works. Once the idea is put into the public in any acceptable manner, it's there. You can't erase that idea. You can't take it back. And nobody stands up for it because, well, the adversary runs the propaganda machines. And it don't matter which propaganda machine it is. And look, I don't think they give a rip that I come on here and talk about it, because and listen, I love each and every one of you, but think about this. We see each other in other rooms too, and even the other rooms, they get up to a couple thousand at some of these chats. But that's just a drop in the bucket to what should really be hearing these type of messages. The messages that I hear and listen to should be reaching so many, but they don't. They've got that figured in so that we get to come out here and do what we want to do and think we're really doing something. And then they give us this, and they're like, here, take and run with this. We're going to normalize it to the point to where nobody will care anyway. And the point is, we're the only ones that really aren't deceived. We're told all these things are coming. Don't be scared. Keep your lamp full. Be prepared. It's going to get rough, but pray. Forgive your enemies. I'll forgive you. I'll put my hand over you, and I'll take care of you. So that's how I live. And when I leave the house today, if I leave the house today at all, I'm not going to think about this stuff when I go out. I'm going to see the people at the gas station. I'm going to leave my cell phone in the truck. I'm going to say hello to them as I look them in the eye. And when I'm at the register, I'm going to say hello to the lady that's there. They want us scared. They want us terrified, so that all of these things seem normal and go right through. I mean, really, they're putting out sex robots in the news, and you'll never see this in the news. But I don't know. Okay, now let's go to stage 2 of this. That's funny. Excuse me. That's funny. All right, guys, let's move on. Now we're normalizing the sexual part of it and why we need it. We need sex robots because space exploration and colonization is one of humanity's greatest endeavors, but it comes with challenges. One of them is that we can't get laid in space. I mean, really, why don't you just put it that way? How about you pick couples to go? Is that a problem? Oh, no, well, then we have babies. No, that's not a problem. Y'all kill how many babies a day? That's a real epidemic. I bet we kill more babies a day than the coronavirus will ever think about killing, than the flu will ever think about killing. And by the way, the flu's probably killed 100 people today in the United States. Just saying. But get your shot. It does its job. Do the numbers. We're a smaller country than the big ones. One of them is to make Space Journey human compatible, which means you need your sex bot. I don't know if y'all remember a movie called Cherry 2000. It was kind of crazy. Awesome. Hey, y'all. I had a prayer request coming in. I want to read y'all I'll read y'all a message here in just a few minutes. It's for a buddy. Well, I can't say he's a buddy, but he's become a pretty good D-Live Fallout Shelter family member over there, and some good news for him. So, little report. Okay, given that intimacy and sexuality are basic needs, they become central issues for human space compatibility. All right, now I'm done with that part. Let's move on. This was on February 18th, and AI and the future of your mind. Susan Schneider, Associate Professor of Philosophy and Cognitive Science and Director of the AI Mind and Society Group at University of Connecticut, has gained national and international reputation for her writing of the philosophical implications of artificial intelligence. She writes about the nature of the self and mind, AI, cognitive science, and astrobiology in publications including the New York Times, Scientific American, and the Financial Times, and her work has been widely discussed in the media such as Science, Big Think, Nautilus, Discover, and Smithsonian. She was named NASA Baruch Blumberg Chair for the Library of Congress and NASA, and also holds the Distinguished Scholar Chair at the Library of Congress. In her new book, Artificial You, AI and the Future of Your Mind, Princeton University Press, she examines the implications of advances in artificial technology for the future of the human mind. Now, this is from physics.org. That is why I put more credence into an article like this. It is by the University of Connecticut. These are scholars talking to scholars. Hey, Big Bear, I don't think I seen you come in here. Good to see you. If I missed anybody, I'm glad y'all are here hanging out. I hope y'all are enjoying this. Now, this lady here, all of these titles, the ones that really stick out to me the most is Scientific American. I'm really familiar with their work. I've read a ton of stuff from Scientific American. And the Financial Times. That's what really gets me. When these people write for financial institutions, they're the ones to look out for because they're talking to each other. They don't expect you and I to read the financial articles. Those are really off there by themselves a lot of times. They're telling each other things, and they're not going to come out and go, like, I like that one I read where the guy goes, well, you're coming out and we're just trying to help people by saying the poor are going to be poisoned. No, they don't care that they're poisoning the poor. They're telling people how to reinvest their money because of what's coming with the poisons and things of that nature. They're preparing the investors who understand and can afford that exotic medicine to be able to recreate by dealing with the poisons. It's all transhumanism. And it's coming at an exponential rate, and we got to be watchful for it. And don't let them get you with it. Let's see. This book is, I just want to share with y'all what her book is about. And we know this is the truth. And I'll share something else with you in a minute. This book is about the future of the mind. It explores the nature of the self and consciousness in a not so distant future using today's work in artificial intelligence and brain enhancement technologies. Now remember all the organizations she was with. She absolutely knows what's going on. Consciousness is the felt quality to experience. What it feels like to be you. Consciousness is the felt quality to experience. That sentence does not comprehend well in my mind. I normally understand these things a little bit, but the way they've worded that sentence really kind of weirds me out a little bit. I agree. Smithsonian is hiding the giants. I love talking about the giants. I just haven't got around to it yet. Consciousness is the felt quality to experience dash what it feels like to be you. Consciousness is what it feels like to be you. That's the scientific term for it now. When you smell the aroma of your morning coffee, hear the sound of a Bach concerto, or feel pain, you are having conscious experience. Indeed, every moment of your waking life, and even you dream, it feels like something from the inside to be you. This book asks, assuming we build highly sophisticated artificial intelligence at some point in the future, will they be conscious beings? This is the programming now, so you got to be programmed to be attached to your machine. So what's the best way to do that? Well, the way they've sold everything, through sex. You've got to, I almost messed that up. You've got to be able to, and now your robot is going to have an AI that can interact with you, can read your emotions, can respond to your emotions. Now we're going to make it smart enough so that it has its own emotions, its own feelings. And we're saying, oh, we need to give this thing a consciousness. So this book asks, assuming we build that at some point, will they be conscious beings? Further, how would we detect if they were a conscious being? And the second book is on, the second half is on nature. Illustrates that AI isn't just going to change the world around us, it's going to go inside the head, changing the human mind itself. But we've all read and been over and over and over the neural lace, all of the, hey Headley man, good to see you, thanks a lot. Denise, good to see you. So yeah, now here is the one that kind of really gets to it. May the 9th, 2019. This was last year. This is where they actually have they're chipping away at it. They're getting people ready, and they're releasing it into existence, and it'll be so normal that people won't bat an eye when it actually goes through legislation. We are programmable over time, very, very easy, especially those that don't look for anything. Those of us that look for stuff, I think we're supposed to try to feed the sheep. I don't think some of the sheep are ever going to look. You know, there's some sheep, they just go right through the gate, right up in there, they're done. There's always that one sheep who's always trying to get to the back of the line, no matter what. That's me. I'm like, I ain't getting up in there. How'd this guy over here get to be so old? He's standing back up in the corner. Yeah. You got to know when they're trying to get you. But you got to have fun during the day. They're always trying to get somebody, right? Okay, check this out. Now, what gets me is we're looking at the scientific world, talking to the scientific world, and they start out with, let's normalize it. Let's forget, we always have to normalize it, and we always have to mention Hollywood. In the HBO show Westworld, I don't know what that is. Robots designed to display emotion, feel pain, and die like humans populate a sprawling Western-style theme park for wealthy guests who pay to act out their fantasies. Oh my gosh! Yeah, y'all. I don't peruse the television to see what's on. I've checked out a couple of things lately just because some people told me to. This one never showed up, but that's kind of freaky. See, that's what's wrong with humans. That's where our mind goes. That's where this technology will absolutely go when it's reaching that exponential point and it's so available to the public. I mean, the Boston Dynamics has already released their little yellow dog out into the public where you can buy it for, if you got enough money, you can buy it for personal use. But okay, as the show progresses and the robots learn more about the world in which they live, they begin to realize they are the playthings of the person who programmed them. Okay, now listen, I'm not telling you that you should take and go look at Westworld and go, oh my goodness, there's the future. It don't work like that. But you can look at that and they can show you what advances are being made in certain areas. And then we come and we show you the real science to it. We're going to get into a couple of those real quick here before we get done. But here's what this does say. Yet advances in artificial intelligence by universities and technology companies mean that we're closer than ever to creating machines that are approximately as cognitively sophisticated as mice or dogs. Now, let me tell you, when they have a machine that is I didn't butcher it the first time, as cognitively sophisticated as a mice or a dog, it will not be very, very long till they have a machine that is way more cognitive than a human, which is now, because if they're telling us they have this that is as cognitive as a mice or a dog, somewhere in a lab, there's a machine already looking down at another machine going, this is going to be easy. He argues these machines deserve the same ethical protections we give to animals involved in research. Listen, if you ever start to see these things coming up at grassroots levels to be voted on, and I don't think we'll ever see that at all, they'll end up in a spending bill or something. I don't know what the answer to this is. I don't even pretend to. Look, I tell my son, when I was younger, I knew that I had everything figured out. And the older I get, absolutely, I realize I don't know anything. It's all a guess, you know. I know the most important thing is we come together, we have a good time together, and we pray for each other. And we pay attention to what's going on in this world. And that's what we do. Animal care and use committees carefully scrutinize scientific research. So now they're going to make it so once it gets feelings, you can't do scientific research on artificial intelligence. How insane is that? The research will become, Well, I guess it'll have to do research on itself then. Does that mean at that point we have to instill our own set of laws for the artificial intelligence and we now have two different races until they just, yeah. Anyway, let me show you what they're ready to do to y'all. This is what I call the predictive programming. And even though I think, listen, here's what I think. I think this is a little still out in science fiction world right here. But what it is they put the ideas out there that get the public ready for the little changes that are coming, to the point that, it's kind of like the actor that I don't remember her name. They call her Crazy Cortez or something. She's an actor, completely an actor. And but what she done was her job, and she introduced complete socialism to the masses. Now, whether she fails or whatever, she's going to get her big check and she's going to go on because she did her job. But it's been introduced so that the next person can introduce it a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper, so that we buy the BS. I don't buy the BS. But you've got to be watching for the little changes while they're talking about big crap in front of you. I know this is eventually coming with the technological world, unless we do something about it, but technology's not going to slow down at this point. So we pray for our Father in heaven to protect us, guide us, give us the full armor every day. Now, check this out. I come up with a while back that medications would pretty soon be able to be monitored when you take it, and if you have an effect to it. Check this out. February 19th, 2020, first millimeter scale wireless transceiver for electronic pills. This is one of these places where you have a choice. They're going to tell you how awesome this is and how good it can do. This week at ISCC 2020, IMEC, a world-leading research and innovation hub in nanoelectronics and digital technologies, presents the first millimeter scale wireless transceiver for smart insertable pills. It is the first breakthrough in IMEC's aspiration to realize autonomous ingestible sensors that can measure health parameters such as gut health and transmit in real time the data outside the body, such as where you are, how fast you're traveling, your geological location, your height from sea level, your body temperature, your heart rate, are you in the bathroom, and before long it'll have a digital camera hooked to it. So digestive processes and gastrointestinal diseases are hard to diagnose, which means we really need you to take this electronic tracking device, because our laser scopes can't go down in there and look at them well enough. Our own cameras. I know this has the possibility to be great technology in the right hands. I just quit believing that the hands it's in were the right hands a long time ago. Yeah. Huh. Come back to that maybe. Now, let's check this next one out. A magnet-controlled bioelectric implant could relieve pain. Now, check this out. This is on a person's fingertip. Okay? And check out what they want to do with it. A team of Rice University engineers has introduced the first neural implant that can be both programmed and charged remotely with a magnetic field. That's just what I want for my pain. I want an implant that somebody else can program and charge and send shocks into my back. Their breakthrough may make possible embedded devices like a spinal cord stimulating unit with a battery-powered magnetic transmitter on a wearable belt. Now listen, here's where I get into saying I believe this is truth. This device could be life-changing for somebody who has been injured, that it may possibly re-stimulate and they may could regain some life. But then you take somebody like DARPA and they will go and take this thing and they will hook like Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man arms on somebody and they'll be remotely using them while the person's trying to do, you know what I'm saying? That's where it goes. And that's not cool. The wrong people are running the world. There was a time, and I believe it was right around the time of Tesla and Edison, where this could have went one way or the other. And well, I think it went the wrong way because these people worship energy. Uh, Their breakthrough could make possible embedded devices like a spinal cord stimulating unit with a battery-powered magnetic transmitter on a wearable belt. Anyway, that's what we've come to on pain relief. Listen, y'all, I've had problems with drugs. The D-Live group and a good many of y'all know a lot of my story. I've had issues with opiates. I'm going to get strung out on opiates again before they put freaking implants in my spine that can be operated remotely. Ain't gonna happen. The system was developed by Qian Yang, an assistant professor of electrical and computer engineering, and all of these big fancy words at Rice's Brown School of Engineering. Blah, blah, blah. Now check this out. If that's not enough, tiny battery-free ID chip can help combat losses to counterfeiting. This is a millimeter sized ID chip. That's like 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter. That is tiny. A 2018 report from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development estimates about $2 trillion worth of counterfeit goods will be sold worldwide in 2020. That's bad news for consumers and companies that order parts from different sources worldwide to build products. Blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you the truth. We take this RFID tag, and the more items that we can get these tags on is the more complete coverage we have in our grid. We have DARPA coming up with this new, I forgot the name of it, but I'm doing some research on it. It's sensors in space, and it's basically Skynet, but they call it something else. And it's sensors so that they can track hypersonic missiles. Well, let me tell you, if they have a sensor in low Earth orbit that can track a hypersonic missile at the edge of the atmosphere, they can track you walking 2 miles an hour down the road anywhere at any time real carefully. Now, with this, everything can be mapped digitally because all of these chips will be integrated to work with a system. If it wasn't integrated to work with the system, it wouldn't work at all. That's how you can tell it's a counterfeit. It would be hooked into a system. And everybody's debit card and driver's license at the end of this year is going to have a chip anyway. If you were to take your card, if it's real ID, if your ID card for your state in Mississippi is ready for the real ID law, and we have been for 2 years, if you were to walk up to a border, before you get to the border, he's looking at your face on that screen already because your card has basically a SIM card in it that's an RFID chip that has already been scanned and has where you're from, your picture, your biometrics, and all that on it. And then they take that card and they scan that card. That's their double authentication check as you go across the border with your real ID, and it'll be doing the same thing going into federal buildings next year in 2021. And now for just something that I found really funny and really hilarious. This from Tech Explorer, like we really, really need it. That's kind of it right there, the R3D2 satellite system. And they got another name for it. They call it Project something. I had found it and I lost it, and I'll get it again. AI agrees with mom. Take good care of yourself. We didn't need AI for that. Analysis by researchers. They spent money for this at the University of Waterloo using artificial intelligence supports the conventional wisdom that taking care of yourself makes you feel good. Really? Of all the things these people could have spent time studying, we spent time with artificial intelligence going, you know what? Mama was right. If you take care of yourself, eat right, do some exercising, you'll feel better. Give me a break. I found this so funny. And I think I have the links to them all in the description. Y'all can check them out. And now I did a story on some crazy snakes. Little short video. We'll share that with y'all. Oh, no, wait. Oh, let's get into the normalization of your artificial intelligence and your machines one more time. I want to take you way back to October the 2nd, 2007. Roombas fill an emotional vacuum for owners. That's a Roombas fill an emotional vacuum for owners. A vacuum fills an emotional vacuum. Wow. Okay. They give them nicknames, worry when they signal for help, and sometimes even treat them like a trusted pet. A new study shows how deeply some Roomba owners become attached to the robotic vacuum and suggests there's a measure of public readiness to accept robots in the house, even flawed ones. This has been being pre-programmed into us since 2007. So when I say to you that they do it slowly, go back to MSN 2007, just a little quick story about the cute little vacuum cleaners, but it put into everybody that read its mind that the Roomba was part of the family. I appreciate those comments. Y'all are awesome. Thank you guys. I just this is what I would do when I sit here and read this. If I were to just sit here and read it without the stream, I get kind of the same way, and my wife is like, I don't want to hear it, so she's happy too. And as y'all will find out, I found out there's a couple of people that I actually know personally that are starting to watch these streams. They can absolutely vouch that I talk to people about these topics in the same exact way in public as I do right here on the streams. This is what I do. This is what my passion is. I grew up driving race cars. I love technology. I loved flying. I can't stand what happens to the sky. It makes me nauseous and even anxious at times just to look up and see what's happening up there. And that's the truth. Actually makes me angry. That's what it does. It makes me angry. That's the feeling that I'm feeling. So by the Bible, we're supposed to be angry and sin not. So in order to be angry and sin not, I have to take and expose this energy, doing the best I can to expose evil and not be a worker of it. So now this is the normalization. Let me close this one. And then we move on up to 2017. And what has Roomba been doing? Roomba have been busy mapping our homes. And now that data could be shared. So in 2007, it's love your Roomba. Oh, get connected to your Roomba. Oh, good little Roomba. We want the same Roomba in the house forever. We don't want that Roomba to change. Why? Well, now that Roomba has mapped where you move furniture to, furniture from. And that is important to them in the data cycle. Extremely important to the data cycle. So, you take this new Roomba, what they do, they made you love your Roomba. They got you all connected to. I'm surprised it don't have a face and a voice interface and AI that can read your mood and talk back to you. All of that. You too, Big Bear. Good. I'm glad y'all made it. Okay. Now, you take the Roomba 2007 to 2017. We made you love it, and now it's mapping your house. And you got to show this to people, and they're like, well, golly, man, that is aware. When they start telling you to love a machine, you better watch out. Now they're telling you to love your sex bot. Fall in love with your sex bot. You'll never be alone. Really, you'll never be alone. There will be somebody watching you all the time. And it'll be human, so it can like grab you and rip you and hold you and wait for the whoever to come drag you out of your home if you've done something wrong. All the while, or it could just be like Delilah, like, oh, it's okay, all the way up until they take you down and poke your eyes out. And then you have to grind the corn until your hair grows back so you can tear down the temple. If y'all read the Bible, you know what I'm talking about. Now, one more quick thing, and I'll get out of here because I want to bring this up real quick. I found an extra two-headed snake. There was also a double-headed copperhead. Look, here's the story. Two-headed viper could end up in Virginia Zoo if it stops fighting with itself. That has got to suck. Now, I really think we're seeing these two-headed snakes for a reason. I'm not sure what it is yet. It's some type of mutation. I'm almost absolutely sure that man or demon has something to do with this, and it's got to be symbolic in some kind of way. Now, I say it's got a two-headed copperhead has got to be a rough snake. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's right. We are the temple. We are the body. We are the church. We do not need to be part of an institution. Oh, okay. Let's go here. Let's look at the three-eyed snake real quick. This was found in Australia, right? This snake opened his third eye. I don't know if he run into some ayahuasca or what it was, but listen, this was in Australia. I personally think Australia got hit hard with some weather weapons this year. There's no telling what that radiation from these weather weapons is doing to us. I'm fixing to start at D Live. I've been going over every other night trying to read some uh, exposés on microwave biological effects of microwave radiation. And here I'm also I'm going to try to do the same thing here. Time just runs short. But listen what they said about this snake in Australia. This is what the Northern Territory Parks and Wildlife tweeted or put on Facebook. The three-eyed snake warns the dry is coming. This was in May the 2nd. The three-eyed snake was found. Their basically Forestry Service said this three-eyed snake means the dry is coming. And it says it had 3 functioning eyes. It's not just a crazy deal that the skull was formed that way. And it means the dry is coming. And the dry came. And Australia burnt to the ground. And David Miles had to come in and save the day by flooding it all away and drowning people's homes. With that gentle soaking rain he speaks of all the time. And then we had the rare 2-headed rattlesnake that was found in New Jersey. Yeah, these 2-headed snakes mean something. I'm not sure what it is, but golly, they're nasty, vicious looking animals. Anyway, they named this one Double Dave because the 2 people who found it name was Dave. I mean, geez, come on, really? I don't even almost believe that. I think y'all made that up. That's freaking weird. Nasty, nasty, nasty. All right, guys, now is the point. We're going to call it a day. If y'all have anything that you would like to kick in the prayer request, you type it in the chat, and we will get it covered. I want to thank you all for coming. Look, the spirit of love, peace, self-control. I struggle with that last one, self-control, a lot, but I pray and I try to do better every day. And that's all we can ask for. And I want to share something with y'all real quick. I don't know that I can get the whole thing. Well, maybe I can. Let me pull this up for just a second. There's a guy who has joined our D Live, and he is really smart on the magnetic, the bio part of the magnetic frequencies and all that. And I can't wait to actually watch him a little bit. He's real educated, but he was having to go to the doctor about some things, and so we stopped and prayed for him, and had somebody ask me to. And he is great. He's perfect. He's normal. And he was having some trouble with everything else. Later, John Boy. Glad you made it, man. So, thankful for that report. And I don't remember his screen name, so I'm going to leave it like that. Awesome things going on there. All right. Yeah, it's about been 1 hour. I'm trying to keep these things to about an hour. It kind of fits in people's schedules better. I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Father, I thank you for allowing us another day to come together and have a great time of fellowship and talk and chat with like-minded people and individuals while learning the things that we're needing to be aware of on a daily basis. Father, I pray that you give us all the full armor every morning, that you help give us everything we need to withstand those fiery darts of the powers and principalities that rule the dark places. And I just pray that you give us all the strength to go about every day to do the work that you have set forth for us to do. Father, I thank you that you give us a direction through your Son to be healed by his stripes, to come to salvation through his resurrection. Father, I thank you that you allow us that, and I'm more gracious for that than any other thing that we can be given. Father, I ask you for all the people around the world that are suffering. I don't understand the plan, and I never will be able to. I just pray that whatever peace, whatever tranquility can be in your will for the people that are calling out for your name, I pray that you give them that peace and you give them that covering. I pray that during this time of the powers and principalities having control, that you reach your hand over each one of us individually and put that pocket of protection over us that stops those fiery darts on a daily basis. Father, if there's anything been in the chat, anybody here has requests, pains, aches, emotions, I ask that you send the Spirit to heal, guide, comfort, direct them, and that you keep our feet on the right way, and that when we look back and see the single set of footsteps that we remember, it's because we're being carried. I thank you for all these things in your Son's name. All right, everybody, and that is that's it. I think that was pretty good for a YouTube stream. I wanted to do something like I used to do a lot of on DLive. I like going over the tech news. I think the tech news is able to kind of show the direction that they're going without pointing so much fear. I don't want to be that at all. It was weighing on me heavy to feel like that was even happening. So Lynette, Travelton, John Boy, TM, Denise, Army Guardian, Love Pugs, all of you guys, Kirk, Mike D. I'm really glad y'all come and hang out on these days. And Elbrin, Giggles, Karen Ann, Brenda. A lot of these names I'm starting to really get familiar with. I have memory problems, y'all, but the ones that I see, I'm really starting to. Oh, okay, cool. I got you. And you're welcome, Christina. I just say what's on my mind and on my heart. I talk to my daddy that way, you know what I mean? And I know that he loves me imperfectly because I love my children and my earthly father loves me, and if that's still a possibility, I figured out how it works. All right, guys, I'm going to kick on out of here. I might try to do a later stream today where I go strictly over some documentation on microwaves. Just going to depend on my internet connection when it gets closer to the peak time. So I love you guys. Have a great night, great day, afternoon, and I'll see y'all sometime.